With the event, please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. And most importantly, please switch your mobile on silent. However, in case of any emergency, please find the right and the closest exit, which is at your right side and the behind door. Mr. Nasser Al-Arayid, Deputy President of Bahrain, Japan Business and Friendship Society. Our honorable guest, Capital Government Team, Board of Members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all. From the middle of city of samurai leaders to the eternity land, searching for the story of the pearl and pure silk commercial road. This is the real friendship between the two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathering tonight here to this very fine evening to present an introduction of archaeological research team and the result. I would like to invite our honorable Mr. Nasser Al-Arayid, the Deputy President of Bahrain, Japan Business and Friendship Society, to present his speech. Please welcome him with me to the podium.
Your Excellency Karim Al-Shakar, Your Excellency Hassan Madani, dear friends, members, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Masa al-Khair, Kumbawa, and good evening. On behalf of the Bahrain Japan Business and Friendship Society, I welcome you all to the special event which will be given by Dr. Takashi Kota, the courier of Tokyo National Museum, and his archaeological team, which will be presenting the history of Japanese archaeologists' work in Bahrain. I would like to thank also the team at the embassy, headed of course by His Excellency Mr. Kiyosho Asaki, the Japanese ambassador, for their continuous support for the society and for the event. Today, hopefully we will discover the new history about the Kingdom of Bahrain through Dr. Kosh's presentation. Whereas the archaeological team did many efforts in Wadi Al-Sail, Rifa, and they have discovered the deep land searching and the history of Bahrain. So, a warm welcome to Doctor, and I hope everybody gets the maximum benefit today, and we are looking forward for your feedback. Thank you very much. Domo arigatos gozaimasu.
Thank you, Mr. Nasser, for that inspiring speech, which highlighting the importance of the historical between the two countries. Born in 1950 in Yamagata, Japan, and achieved his PhD in Tokyo University, Japan. As a curator of Tokyo National Museum, he had been responsible for the Middle Eastern antiques for 30 years until 2016. He spent his experience and his work in the Middle East, including Iran, Syria, and Arabian Gulf state. And recently in Bahrain, he worked in Buri burial field and Ain al-Shajar temple site. Both Shujur temple site, both date to Dolmenate period in 1980s and 90s. He started a new expedition in Wadi Al-Sair burial field in 2015, and it is still progress. Dr. Takeshi Kotaha Hon Gotter of Tokyo National Museum, Japan, is presenting the most important result of the agriculture search team. Please welcome to the podium.
Rimum could be the king's name. Inzak is the guardian god of Dirmun. And Agarum could be a tribe name of the king. This discovery was an origin of Dirmun Bahrain theory. Even in the 20th century, British people are very active, but a few others visited Bahrain with intellectual curiosity. In this century, their works were highly developed and became more scientific. There were as many remarkable burial mounds in Ari, including so-called royal tombs or royal mounds. Most of them visited there and excavated a great number of mounds of Dirmun. Another British political resident, Colonel Prideaux, excavated as many as 67 mounds in Ari. Mackay, also a British gentleman, excavated some 50 mounds. And after this work, he moved to India and got excellent results in archaeological studies of the Indus civilization or Harappan civilization. Peter Cornwall was an exceptional American who worked in the Gulf. He was a doctor candidate and also supported Dirmun Bahrain theory. I am calling the next stage as a formative Dirmun period. Formative period. In this period, all the historical periods from the Stone Age to Islamic period of the Gulf states became the themes of archaeological studies. The Danish archaeologists were almost exclusively so active in the whole Gulf. They started with the works in Bahrain to look for Dirmun and later extended the research area. Peter V. Grob and Jeffrey Beebe. Kappel was a prehistorian and he established the Stone Age chronology, especially of Qatar Peninsula. Grob was the head of the team and known as an authority of Danish archaeology. Beebe was a British man and became naturalized as a Dane. His essay, Looking for Dirmun, has been a bestseller and called many people to Bahrain and the Gulf. I myself was also called to the Gulf by his famous work. The third stage is the progressive period. It may be subdivided in future. In this period, Gulf states set up their own agencies and museums. The cultural heritage of the Arabian Gulf has been put under the local state control. Foreign archaeologists have also been working. They are British, French, German, Danish, Italian, Australian, Indian, Japanese, and Arabs from outside Gulf. From the Stone Age to the Islamic, all the historical periods are now scientifically studied by the local and foreign archaeologists. Here, I will touch upon some Japanese scholars. Let me introduce Professor Hachishi Suzuki of Tokai University. When he was young, he was in the Japanese embassy in Cairo as a cultural attaché. He traveled from Egypt to Iraq, Kuwait, and Bahrain in 1964 for visiting archaeological sites. He felt strong emotions at the ancient sites in Bahrain and wrote an essay on the unknown ancient civilizations in the Arabian Gulf. It was the year of the Tokyo Olympic. One of the many books of Yajima is the Japanese translation of Gilgamesh epic of ancient Mesopotamia, the right one. Next one, Misato Konishi, Emeritus Professor of St. Paul's University in Tokyo. He is still active and alive. In 1977, he was staying in Karachi and moved to Bahrain to see the newly discovered cistern or pool of the Balbar temple site. After visiting many sites, he wrote a detailed essay about the archaeology of Bahrain and the Arabian Gulf in Japan. This is a picture of Konishi and Bibi talking in the tent at Ain Umusjur excavations near Diraz. ありがとう。あれ？もうちょっと前か。これ順番が違ってる。これ終わりましたよ。次これです。終わった？はい。これ終わりましたよ。そう。じゃあこれ。はい。はい。I should also just touch upon myself. I visited many ancient sites in Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman in 1986 and introduced the Gulf archaeology on some journals in Japan. This is an example about the cultural heritage of Bahrain with him. They agreed in supporting the future cooperation in the archaeological studies of Bahrain. Egami was the greatest authority on archaeology in Japan. After giving some lectures, he vigorously visited remarkable ancient sites in Bahrain with the Japanese team. The left is, I'm on the left. This is a picture of Professor Egami, Mr. Hirano, of the head of Nomura Investment and Banking, and Goto, visiting the Ministry of Information. I will talk about the sites excavated by the Japanese archaeologists in late 20th century to early 21st century. There are two burial mounds in Buri, a lost temple of Ain Umusjur and Wadi Asil burial field. These are all dated to early Delmun, and the excavation of the third site is still in progress. My colleagues are just arrived. They arrived from the site directly. There are burial mounds in Buri excavated by the Japanese team. This is a scenery before many of the mounds were excavated and bulldozed for the construction of new roads. Very old picture. The burial mounds of Buri were constructed in early development period, 20th or 19th century BC. In the early development period, one mound has just one burial chamber, and just one dead body was buried in one chamber. If we find something departing from these principles, it may be dated to the terminal stage of the civilization. This was a typical tomb of a common person of the early development. But when we opened the chamber, we found it had already been robbed like many others. You see, the human bones are now accumulated on the corner. So other goods were already robbed and looted. This is the larger mound which were excavated in Buri. This mound has also been plundered and no burial goods were found except dismembered human bones of the dead. This is a short report of the excavation. Anu Mutsjur, near Diraz, is one of the first Delmonite sites excavated by the Danish team in 1954. In 1990s, we re-excavated it and found a well-like structure of Dirmun. It was similar to what the Danish archaeologists discovered in 1954. We call them Well 1 and Well 2. Just have a look. A stone or altar or offering table for the god is just emerging on the staircase. It looked as if had been thrown out violently from the upper level. Here is the well chamber. Water is gushing. Still, you can find the water, underground water. And this is a staircase. And here is the landing, and it comes from the left to the right, and missing. Yeah. Earlier photos were taken with a camera. Camera is here. This is the camera. Hung from a balloon. We can see those two wells very clearly. Here was maybe the main temple of the god was here, already lost. And well one here, discovered by the Danish team. And we discovered another one. These are very similar to each other. Chamber, well chamber here, and the L-shaped staircase, and missing in between. from the well-like well chambers, sweet water is still gushing. It means the temple is for the water god of Dilmun. When the early Dilmun collapsed, the main temple was broken and looted by these two well-like structures were protected under the thick sand layers. The wells were constructed for connecting the rising temple of the god and the residence of the underground water god. Here should have been the main temple of the water god, possibly Enki. And these photos were taken by the Danish team in 1954. Well 1, we call it well 1. And this is the same one, but after 40 years, lintel is now fallen down and the staircase is broken. But the water is still gushing. And the wellhead stone has this kind of round hole. It is just interesting that the well stone are different. Well stones are different types. And the well too of our well, so-called Japanese well. This is nicknamed as a Danish well. A square hole. And this is earlier, and this is just later. The water is gushing even today. These were votive excavated objects. These are very interesting. These were possibly votive offerings or temple fixtures, and these are all far from ordinary people's everyday life. We concluded that this site could be a lost temple of Dilmun. This is the altar, that one, and very big jar. And Danish team found a pair of headless lamb or alabaster bowl. And these chlorite or steatite vessel. The third one. The third excavation is still in progress in Wadi As-Sail burial field. The burial mounds are of the early Dilmun type and dated to the period just before the urban civilizations. They are generally small and low and not so sophisticated as, for example, those of Buri in the next stage. These are just earlier. The contributions of the latest technology is so great in the field. The left is part of 3D map of the burial field. You can find burial mounds big and small, and the temporary road and natural wadis, so and so. The right is half excavated mound and completely excavated one. And this is a central chamber, just one chamber. From another burial, so far, 2 carnelian beads are unearthed. Small ones, but very beautiful. These were parts of personal ornaments of the dead. We are operating the excavations with a part of state budget of Japan. And in the same time, we have been supported so much by the government of Kingdom of Bahrain. In this opportunity, we should express a heartfelt thanks to the government of Bahrain and Japan. And we are much obliged to the Bahrain-Japan Business and Friendship Society for presenting an opportunity of my humble lecture in this beautiful evening. To complete our works in Wadi As-Sail, we will come back in the next winter. Ladies and gentlemen, Bahrainis and Japanese, thank you very much and see you again in the next season.
Dr. Takeshi, a part of appreciation from Bahrain Japan Business and Friendship Society, we would like to present that appreciation token for you.
You're popular.
Thank you very much for adding this to our history, Bahrain.
This publication about Dilmun, peace and love. And I would like to give this to Mr. Goto. One point, huh? Mr. Goto.